Well, hello, everyone. I recently got back from a pilgrimage through southern France in a region known as the Languedoc. And if you've been there, you know it is a region that is so filled with bounty. Lavender fields, vineyards, charming villages, and even caves that have these crystal pools and stalactites and stalagmites. It was truly beautiful. So one of the reasons that I'm called to do pilgrimage throughout southern France is to visit sites that honor and that are dedicated to the Black Madonna. I have visited the Black Madonna in Montserrat, Spain, and during this last pilgrimage in France, I visited 5 Black Madonnas. And I have a little figurine here that I purchased in Montserrat, Spain, when I was there several years ago, and it sits on my desk because for me, the Black Madonna is a site, are sites of great healing. These sites, in my experience, are sites of powerful healing and spiritual energy. They're sites where pilgrims have made a where pilgrims have visited for hundreds of years, and you can feel the spiritual energy and the essence of that powerful healing in each of the sites when you visit them. So it was the same for me on this visit. And the Black Madonna, if you are familiar, is a term given to an icon of the Virgin Mary who is holding Jesus. And in her hand is also a symbol of the world and a pine cone. And the pine cone, if you are familiar with religious symbology, can stand for the pineal gland, which is the opening of our spiritual eye, the opening of our ability to see from a sense of our spiritual self. And also the pine cone represents fertility and abundance, prosperity. And so when pilgrims visit these sites, they visit them for the blessings. They visit them to pray for healing, and they experience a sense of connection with the divine. They pray for spiritual intervention and transformation in their lives. In general, the Black Madonna is seen as a figure that unites. She's a synthesis of both the Christian and the pre-Christian goddess traditions. And she's an example of how traditions can come together and blend, bringing the spiritual essence of both tradition and preserving it within the tradition itself as they form a new tradition. And the Black Madonna has so much mystery, so I would invite you to go on your own pilgrimage of exploration and to be with the symbolism of the Black Madonna to see what emerges forth in your own consciousness, in your own contemplation, in your own spiritual practice. Southern France alone is home to 300 Black Madonnas. There are thought to be 500 or so in the world today. What I felt when I experienced these Black Madonnas and as I was meditating in that essence in France was a profound sense of how this icon, this image of the divine feminine, is relevant for our spirituality today. And so I'd invite us all to consider the deeper meanings behind her image. In our Science of Mind and Spirit teachings, we consistently are invited to reach through and to reach deeper into the spiritual wisdom that lies beyond Scripture or spiritual passages, to understand the principles and how we can apply those in our life to make our lives better, to transform parts of our life, to heal our hearts as well as our physical bodies, and to experience a greater and greater sense of the divine. Ernest Holmes suggested this in quotes when he said things like, to get a spiritual meaning of the Bible, we must reach in and read it with a spiritual mind. Philosopher and professor Mircea Eliade wrote, "Driven from religious life in the strict sense, the celestial sacred remains active through symbolism." A religious symbol conveys its message even if it is no longer consciously understood in every part, for a symbol speaks to the whole human being and not only to the intelligence. And I believe what he's referring to in this quote is that when we are with a religious symbol, when we meditate with it, when we sit with it, when we contemplate it, we have the opportunity to feel into the sense of the symbol, to feel that deeper connection, to allow it to emerge, to awaken within us, so that when we're quiet, when we go within, we can sense that resonance, that vibration in our own hearts that is coming to us from contemplation of the symbol itself. So this happened for me when I was in France. When I was sitting in the presence of these Black Madonnas, I began to feel how she symbolizes and carries that essence of the dark goddesses. And within her, there's this fierceness, this energy, which I think is also sensed if in the Hindu dark goddess Kali, or in the Hawaiian goddess Pele, or in the ancient Egyptian goddess Isis. All of these are fierce and wild and cosmic in nature. They symbolize the depth of the darkness from which all life emerges. Life emerges from the dark, whether it's a seed from the soil or it's the planets and stars from the vastness of space, or us humans emerging from the waters and the darkness of the womb. As you see in all of those examples, life emerges from that sense of dark. So many of these Black Madonnas, they surfaced during the Middle Ages. And if you think about the Middle Ages, there had been hundreds of years since there had been oppression and separation of the divine feminine from spirituality, from religious institutions. And so she began to come forth. And what's so interesting and shrouded in mystery is that these Madonnas were mostly found in fields. They were dug up out of the soil. And we don't know why. When we were on pilgrimage in France, there was a story told how a farmer found a Black Madonna out in the field. He dug her up, he brought her into the church, and the next day she was out in the field again. He brought her into the church, next day she was out in the field again. And this happened 3 times. And what I would take from that story is that she symbolizes that depth of the soil. And she symbolizes the depth of our being able to reconnect with that call to reconnect with Mother Earth, to reconnect with nature, to reach into the depths of ourselves, to see what wants to be grown and reborn and reconnected with in the darkness, in the soil. So in addition to our relationship with Mother Earth, what we can take from that is for our relevance of our spiritual development today in our life in the world is that we face darkness in our world. We face challenges in our life. We face shadows within our own being. And if we can go and hold that gently, just like the Madonna is holding the baby Jesus, or a symbol of Jesus, if we can hold things with compassion and explore while we are exploring the caverns of our own soul, then we can bring new life or integration into those parts that are exiled, that are pushed aside, that have been cast out within our own being. So healing the shadow parts of ourselves brings us more into wholeness and more able to face the darkness that we meet in the world around us. So that's what we bring forth, or one of the things we can bring forth from our work with the Black Madonna and the Dark Goddess, is that we can bring forth that fierceness to stand for peace, that fierceness to stand for climate change, the fierceness to stand for unity and connection with one another. That fierceness needed to heal our intergenerational trauma. Matthew Fox has written that the words for compassion in both Hebrew and Arabic literally come from the word that means womb. So the Black Madonna stands for our interdependence, being compassionate for our shadows as well as for our light, and bringing the those shadows from the darkness into the light with compassion. So I leave you with this consideration. Perhaps you might feel called to sit with an image of the Black Madonna or an image of a dark goddess and see what insight or guidance emerges for you in your spiritual practice. And perhaps ask yourself what parts in the caverns of your own soul are calling to be held with love. From the darkness, life emerges. So what you find there can be held in prayer. The teachings of the Dark Goddess and the Black Madonna specifically help us to redefine our own destinies. So with her, we journey back to the soil of Mother Earth. With her, we journey back to the cosmos, the sea of stars, the Stella Mara. With her, Maris, and with her, we journey back to the depths of the sea, La Mer. She shows us through her own divine feminine power that each one of us has the ability to transform fear into compassion, to turn tragedy into strength, and that we have the power to heal and to release that hidden light within our own hearts. So let's anchor this together in prayer. And so right now we just move into that sacred container of prayer, feeling that eternal presence of the One. That is love, that is harmony, that is deep peace. And we know that silence is the language of the universal, the universe, that from silence all emerges. And so in that stillness right now, I feel and know that infinite connection with the divine. That eternal love and that sense of spirit that is moving in, through, and as each one of us. And so in this moment, we connect with that essence of the Black Madonna. That fierceness, that wildness, that healing essence and presence that she brings. Knowing that that energy has the power to bring an awareness, to awaken our awareness that that energy is always present, always around us, always giving. And so what I know for each one of us is that that healing presence transforms doubt, transforms fear. That presence brings a sense of balance, a sense of wholeness. And so we place within this prayer anything that is holding us separate. Whether it be in our own consciousness, whether it be in the sense of the conditions of our life, and we place that right into the essence of the eternal right here, right now. I know that each one of us absolutely awakens within that fierceness to stand for peace, to connect with peace within our own hearts. Knowing that as we connect with that peace, we are able to be an instrument of peace in the world. And so I give thanks. I give thanks for this energy of healing, this eternal presence of the One, this essence of love. For I know that as we release this prayer with gratitude into the creative law, it absolutely is made manifest as spoken. So we let it go, and we let the Father, Mother, God within do the work. And so it is.